What's going on, guys? This is Kaisha. Welcome back. So we are back with another video. So for our video today, we are going to cover Yu-Gi-Oh! Japan Championship 2025 Team Tournament Aichi Qualifier. So it is a qualifier tournament for the upcoming Japan Championship 2026, and that would be their World Championship slot qualifier as well, no? For the Team Japan on the upcoming WCS 2026 in Tokyo, if I'm not mistaken. And this is a tournament report that is a bit late, no? Considering that it was held last November 2 and November 3rd. But I still wanna cover how the first big event, arguably on the regular format, after the BPRO and the Fallen and the Virtuous structured deck. And I think this will be a very good parameter on how the metagame have shaped after the two sets that will probably reshape our metagame, no, in this modern Yu-Gi-Oh! On this late 2025 before we conclude our format in the January ban list. So without further ado, let's start. So it is a report by Akira. Shoutouts to our provider of this article in Road of the King in Akira. And also this tournament had 128 teams or 384 participants. And it is a 3v3 tournament, of course, team tournament. And it had 6 rounds of Swiss, double elims as well. And top 4 teams are invited towards the tournament finals of the team tournament. And also top 8 teams wins a Prismatic Secret Rare DD Warrior Lady. So it is a very essential card for the GOAT format nor the previous formats in early days of Yu-Gi-Oh! So it is probably a very worthy and valuable card right now. So looking on our topping decks here is filled with your obvious meta decks now, Yummy, Mitsurugi, Malis, and some interesting tops like the Lunalight and DDD. So we are going to browse on the topping deck list on these 3-man tournament reports. So moving on the first place team, we do have Yummy. So this is what I envision Yummy right now. It is just a engine deck with technically 15 or 13 starters on the main deck, and you practically have like 20 to 23 slots for non-engines and hand traps. And it is probably the biggest asset of Yummy right now, being able to be very consistent going first. Of course, you have a lot of one-card starters. You still have a plenty amount of extenders when you play the Engage and the copies of the Hornet Drones. And of course, the Bell and Nibiru are just so essential right now. If you are a deck that can run Nibiru and Bell, most likely you have a fair chance of interrupting the opponent's meta decks right now in this current format. Of course, Nibiru very good against Malis and probably against the DDD and other stuff that can pop off going first, no? Nibiru is a stalemate card against them. And of course, Bell, very powerful card against a mirror match of Yummy and of course, Yummy matchups. And looking on our deck list here, it is very standard. It is just notable that he played Forbidden Crown, where during this time, Forbidden Crown was quite debatable. People are still divided on playing Forbidden Crown, whether it is a good card in a sense that it can be defensive and also offensive on depending on the usage of the player, no? It can protect your cards, it can also interrupt your opponent and be crucial on providing extra interruption outlet for you. And also Yummy have evolved into a more of a explosive deck going first, running the Boral Savage and the Cupid pitch package here on the extra deck, which enables them to bring out extra Omni Negates in the form of Savage. And with the Arclight and Savage board with Yummy Ways, no, it is practically turned skipper amount of interruptions. You're able to have plenty amount of interactions with both 2 Omni Negates on your board sitting on the Arclight and the Savage, no. So all in all, I think Yummy is in a top 3 best deck contention right now, even after the release of the BPRO and the structure deck of Albaz. I think the new structure deck of Albaz, no, because we had a Albaz structure deck before last 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I think it brings to the fact that Yummy is arguably a very comfortable deck to play and a lot of people have been invested too much on playing Yummy for quarter a year already, no? So it's not a surprise where Yummy just contends with the best and still brings results, no? Even though they have gotten some fair amount of hits from the ban list already. And his teammate, we do have Mitsurugi here. So Mitsurugi, very standard. I think this is how you should build a pure Mitsurugi deck list, making rooms for the Impulse, which is the variant of Mitsurugi cannot do if they are running Fiendsmith and stuff like the Ryzeal and other variants like Orcus, no? You have no business playing Impulse, but what makes pure Mitsurugi very great on its own, no? Because they have the capacity to play the Dominus Impulse. And of course, they have more rooms for consistency cards in the form of Extravagance and the Prosperity, which grants them extra draws and extra searchability for their starters and of course extenders on their ritual spells. And also running the Dimensional Shifter, no, which is very strong against the Rogue decks and of course other tier 3, tier 4 decks like Lunalight, for example, DDD, Blue Eyes Primite. All of those decks will suffer very bad against a Shifter. And we do have another Mitsurugi here. I think they have the same deck list. Yeah, they are running the both 40 deck. Rather 55, no? Yeah, even the side deck are same. Or the same as well. Yeah, triple Droll, triple Lancea, and double Phantasme, one Shifter. And of course, the Red Reboot, the Respect for the Judgments, the ASF, no, the skill drains of the Dracotail, and TC boost as well of the Dracotail and VSK9. Next we have Grass Horus Malis. So this deck was still popular in China, but I'm really surprised that it managed to top in Japan. Because yeah, as we all know, if you follow OCG closely, these decks are very exotic on Japanese environments, where areas these decks are very common in China or Taiwan, for example, But yeah, Grass Malis is still a solid option as well, With triple Signet Mining and draw bread, draw pan, rather, and Chaos Space, you're able to boost the consistency of the already consistent Malis. And you also have the leeway to play the Baldrix and the Druisworm and the Magnamut to be able to interrupt the Mitsurugi mashups. The downside is you're only running one grass now, which is kinda hefty in a sense that you only have one card in practically 50-60 card deck now, and you're all hoping to draw that card on your first 5 is pretty hard to execute it consistently. And triple Meowls as well, very strong against the Malis matchup. Malis Mirror, of course, you would rely on the Meowls to be able to get you draw power and of course draw into the board breakers and cards that may do something like Droplet and Dark Ruler no more. And on the second place team, we do have Fiendsmith Yummy. So this is arguably the second most popular version of Yummy, if we consider that Yummy Mitsurugi is still not popular on this stage of date. And Fiendsmith Yummy, yeah, practically this is another deck that can unlock the untapped potential of Yummy. Having two bodies on the field always equates into a full Fiendsmith combo, with the Requiem and all of those stuff. I think Yummy Fiendsmith is your go-to option if you don't want to invest too much on Mitsurugi, which is a very hefty and expensive core or engine right now. You would bleed your wallet or pockets if you are going to invest on Mitsurugi. So if you wanna play more into variants of Yummy, you would want to try Fiendsmith Yummy as well. And triple Solemn Strike, rather Solemn Warning, I think this is a very solid option against Dracotail and the increasing popularity of Branded during this time. I think with Solemn Warning, you are much more confident on playing through the Rahu and Keto in the Branded Fusion. And I think it's a very good surplus on your back row. And we have another Fiendsmith Yummy here, triple Nib on the main deck this time and triple Purge. And this time he opted to play Forbidden Crown instead of Forbidden Droplet, which is also a valid choice. And double Metal Tronus, I think they foresaw that Yummy would be one of the most popular decks on this metagame. and he opted to a card that can do a lot of things on the mirror match. And we do have Odion Primite this time. So very standard Odion. This is you always see on pure Odion, just playing the Apopix continues and a bunch of Dominus and Songs cards and a couple of floodgates like Tisibo and Skill Drain. And Dark Imprisoning Mirror, very important card right now to undermine. I think Imprisoning Mirror is always going to come up as long as the format is going to lean towards dark monsters, no? Which is very evident in the form of Mitsurugi. So this is another floodgate deck that if you don't have issues on shutdowning your dark monsters on the deck, no, you're very free to use the Dark Imprisoning Mirror on your side deck. And next we have another Lunalight. So this deck kinda is falling in numbers in the past couple of weeks since November. Since the first week of November, this deck has fallen through the ranks. It used to be a tier B, even tier A at some point before, but now they have lost their numbers and arguably getting power creep as well now with the Elvennotes and the other new stuff like branded. So yeah, it is bound to happen. Of course, Lunalight is a very solid deck during their time, but obviously it does have their flaws, and you cannot really rely too much on a tower beat stick in the form of Liger Dancer. So yeah, it is bound to happen. And running Salesman as well, very interesting stuff. You could technically protect yourself from Droll and Nibiru and stuff like the Case Hunter, no? It is another good option to play. And next we have DDD. I have told my friends that they are asking me what is the actual objectively better build of DDD. And I told them that as long as you make room for Droll and Lockbird and Impulse, you should be fine. The moment that you include Droll and Lockbird and the Impulse, you would be having a good mid-rangey type of DDD build, no? Where the older versions of DDD cannot do this because you have more one card starters now, and of course the other DDD tries to rely on the extensions and the combo pieces that you may play on the main deck now. But DDD have evolved into a much more spacious deck where you can play Fualos and the standard Droll and Impulse, which are very strong against the opposition right now. As long as you time those hand traps properly, no, you're able to capitalize on powerful hand traps like these. And next we have Fiendsmith Elvennotes. So during this time, I think Fiendsmith Elvennotes are the more popular version, and even now I think Fiendsmith Elvennotes are still very popular. But we have seen a bunch and rising popularity of branded Elvennotes, as well as White Forest Elvennotes, where they capitalize on the spellcaster variants, and of course the being able to use the branded fusion and the fallen and the virtues into much more snowballing threats, no? In a sense that you can play more interruptions and also being able to bring out some of the branded fusion monsters on it as well. So another version was the White Forest, where you play minimal amount of Elvennotes on the White Forest and you practically use it as a secondary engine to extend and further empower your going first board. And the thing with Elvennotes right now is they only play to 2 Terrorize, and I think that's the correct call in this deck. You don't really need the third copy. It's more of a fusion deployment type of card on this build, so you don't really need to invest too much on extenders because you have plenty amount of starters as well already in the form of Medius and your water and fire Elvennotes monsters. And next we have Radiant Typhoon. So this deck just really popped off, is the correct term to describe the recent results of the Radiant Typhoon. I think this deck was underrated at some point. I don't rate this deck too much, but the moment that they had the Forbidden Crown and the Fallen and the Virtuous card, no, it just completely went 360. Yeah, it's just so immense. The moment that they have more outlets for quick plays like Forbidden Crown and the Fallen and the Virtuous, yeah, they are a different deck. But on this list, it's not doing that exact thing that I'm talking about. It's more of a rank 3 turbo deck. The usage of the Radiant Typhoon cards branching out towards the Fiendsmith line of play is much more evident and prioritized here rather than being a nuisance going second with the quick play cards of the Forbidden Ground and the Fallen Virtus. And next we have Grass Horus Malis. So very interesting. This time with Horus as well. And yeah, it is still running the Grass, the Allure, and the Gold Sark. And Triple Dark Ruler no more as well. Very important card in this metagame. And next we have Branded. So during this time, it is still not a widespread deck now. People are playing Branded during this November 2, 3, 4. But it's not as plenty as right now. Branded is definitely taking the format by storm. In these past 2 weeks, they have been emerging as a tier A type of deck, no? So yeah, it's just a very solid deck at this point. Being able to lock the opponent with Gimmick Puppet, being a very powerful usage of Bestials against the Mitsurugi and potentially Yummy as well, no? On the mirror match as well, Bestials are going to be impactful, and I think this is how Branded would cope with only one Branded fusion, and technically they don't seem to be full power at this point, but they have gotten the Fallen of White and of course the new Synchro of Ecclesia monster. So yeah, it's a different ball game right now for Branded. Definitely they have gotten so many tools on the new support now. From BPRO and the new structure deck, they have gotten like 2 waves of support on that single week. So it's just massive for Branded, and you're able to play more hand traps as well on regular Branded. You're able to play Meowls and Volas like we are seeing here. And also, the recent trend for Branded was playing more Dogmatica cards like Fleur de Lis and the Ecclesia OG, no? Next, we have Onomat Ryzeal. So, this is your second best version of Ryzeal, in my opinion. If you don't wanna play the Mitsurugi, if you don't wanna catch stray bullets from the side decking threats, for Mitsurugi, you would opt for Onomat Ryzeal. But all in all, it does lose to the same thing, no? Dimensional Barrier, you would lose, of course, all of your 15 extra deck are XYZ monsters. So you don't have any means to utilize under the barrier and some turn skipping cards like the Samuel Archfiend. And looking on our decklist here, it's like more of a Onomat, no, rather than Ryzeal. Is leaning towards more Onomat plays. So your X and the I's are just practically extenders at this point. And next we have another Branded, running Foolish Burial Goods on the main deck. And double Evilly Match, very underrated right now. I think Evilly Match against X-Sister, Lunalight, and Branded Mirror Match as well, no? You have a lot of leverage towards playing Evilly Match right now. And very strong against Yummy and Mitsurugi as long as you use their consume their Omni Negate on their board already, no? So yeah, it can probably turn the tides of the game single-handedly. Next we have another Yummy standard, 1 leap on the main deck and double Meowls, just to respect the Malis matchup. And next we have another Odion. I wonder why they call Odion as Rishid. I don't know if it was changed into a Rishid deck rather than Apophis or Odion, no? Because I'm pretty sure that TCG calls the deck as Odion or Apophis. But yeah, it is called Rishid. So yeah, correct me if I'm mistaken on the comments below. What is the actual name of this deck right now? And double border, I think I foresaw this as well. I have also played with the fact that I can play border here and practically stand the opponent normal border, and you have like 3 or 2 Dominus cards on your disposal, and Imperms, Maxi, Nib, those are all going to hurt against the best decks right now. And triple deck lockdown, of course, you should probably play this deck as a more stun controlish deck, no? Rather than playing more hand traps, because it doesn't suit the tempo of this deck if you play more aggressive hand traps on this. Like Flawless, for example, no? You should technically play this deck as low as possible. The moment that you control the match, you technically win the game from that. Next, we have another Ryzeal Mitsurugi here. So, this is your standard version of Ryzeal Mitsurugi. And yeah, this is what I actually thought that is going to happen running Featherstorm. It's just FTK at this point, no? The moment that you can draw Featherstorm, you have very strong, very strong preposition of winning the game already. The moment that you skip the turn of your opponent, you have no issues on finishing the game as long as you summon the castle, no, on your board. You have the Wing Beast, and you just win the game from that. Next, we have Yummy here. Triple draw on the side deck. Very strong against the Mirror and Mitsurugi mashups. And yeah, that sums up our Aichi Team Tournament Qualifier. If you found this video informative or helpful, please do consider subscribing. It definitely motivates me a lot to keep providing this content for you guys. And also, let me know in the comments below what you think about the new format that we currently have under BPRO, and also the new Alba structure deck as well. And moving forward, we are going to have a new set as well in the form of the Terminal World 02 as well.